Nazi, come here. Cell Squad is something. Don't look off the dance, man. Yo, you want something? Yeah, man. Cell Squad is. Yeah, man. Don't lock it off. Don't tell her. Guess what, Squad? Go buy a peanut from the peanut man. When him a go through in the dance, in a inbox him have everything you want. Herbs by the bud and by the stock. I like the top shell and them a shell down the bar. Watch it, mind you step on them clock.
Welcome to True Island History Channel. This is part one of the history of St. Thomas, one of our most picturesque parishes in the beautiful tropics of Jamaica. St. Thomas, once known as St. Thomas in the East, is a suburban parish situated in the southeastern end of Jamaica, within the county of Surrey. It is the birthplace of the Right Honorable Paul Bogle, designated in 1969 as one of Jamaica's 7 national heroes. Morant Bay, its chief town and capital, is the site of the Morant Bay Rebellion, which occurred in 1865, which Bogle was the leader. It was a bloody and tumultuous affair in which many slaves lost their lives in the continued fight for their deserved freedom from the Commonwealth, which was the British at that time. Representative George William Gordon, a wealthy mixed-race businessman and a politician from this district, was tried and executed in 1865 under martial law and suspicion of directing the rebellion. Governor Eyre was forced to resign due to the controversy over his execution of Gordon and the violent suppression of the rebellion. Gordon was designated in 1969 as a Jamaican national hero. St. Thomas was densely populated by the Taino Arawak Indians when Christopher Columbus first came to the islands in 1494. The Spaniards established cattle ranches at Morant Bay and in Yalas. In 1655, when the English captured Jamaica, they organized their new territory into a number of parishes. This was when St. Thomas Parish was established, administering part of what is now Portland Parish, which was not established in 1722, and excluding what is now the western part of the parish, which was in the historic San David Parish. The Crown invited residents from other British colonies to settle there. About 1,600 colonists, mainly from Nevis, including the governor of Nevis, his child, his wife, his children, and his wife, settled there. In a short time, however, 2/3 of them died from tropical fevers. Malaria, yellow fever was a common in those days from the mosquito, from the dense swamplands. The colony began to rebuild after. They imported slaves, African slaves, and enslaved them to work the sugarcane plantation developed in the area in dire conditions. In 1674, the French Admiral Ducasse sailed from Santo Domingo, San Domingue, and landed in Morant Bay on June the 17th for a month. He raided the local settlers, killing many and carrying off their slaves. Later, bands of Maroons settled in the mountains of St. Thomas. In 1676, when St. Thomas in the Vale Parish, the parish became known as St. Thomas in the East Parish. It retained its name until the 1st of May 1867, when the parish system of colonial administration was reformed by Governor John Peter Grant, who introduced a law to reduce the number of parishes in 1867. So there was about 20 parishes in 1867, and John Peter Grant, who was the reformed governor, he reformed the parishes and reduced them to 14. Slaves long constituted the majority of the population of the parish. In 1834, the British government abolished slavery, thank God, ending it fully in 1838 after a 4-year apprenticeship. But decades later, freedmen struggled to gain land to cultivate and generally work at very, very low wages. as they generally could not afford to pay the poll tax. So they were excluded from voting. So we were freed, but yet we still live in bondage, political bondage, mental bondage. Emancipate ourselves, emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Yeah. No, our prophets were our leaders, our religious leaders. And, cut the head off the snake and then the body will falter. That was their mentality. However, we continue to fight, though being oppressed and suppressed. We needed to be freed. In October 1865, the Morant Bay Rebellion took place in St. Thomas. Formerly enslaved people of their descendants all over Jamaica was discontented about the social injustices, particularly on the question of land tenure. Baptist deacon and preacher Paul Bogle of St. Thomas Parish Church led a delegation of small farmers who walked 72 kilometers, 45 miles, to present their grievances to Edward John Eyre, the governor of Jamaica, in the capital, Spanish Town. Spanish Town was the capital of Jamaica. Then, how times have changed them. But Paul Bogle and his conglomerates were denied in the audience. Angered after a case in which a peasant was convicted of trespass on a long-abandoned plantation on 11th of October, Paul Bogle and his followers, armed with sticks and machetes, marched to the courthouse in Morant Bay, where a vestry meeting was being held. The authorities read the riot act, but the protesters, they ignored it. A few people began to throw stones at the volunteer militia, and that's how it started. The militia fired into the crowd and killed 7 people. Later, the mob reorganized and returned, setting the courthouse ablaze and nearby buildings as well. When the Custos Maximilian von Kettelhut and others tried to leave the burning building, the mob attacked them and got rid of them, killed them. A total of 25 people died on both sides on the day. Now, during the next 2 days, the peasants took over St. Thomas Parish. The governor declared martial law in the parish and ordered troops to suppress the rebellion. More than 430 people were killed outright by soldiers in the suppression of the rebellion, and more than 1,000 homes were burned flat to the ground to complete ash, leaving thousands of people homeless. They arrested more than 300 people and executed some, and punishing many innocent people. We have come to the end of part 1. Join us for part 2, coming soon on the True Island History Channel. I hope you truly enjoyed this story. It's part of our history. Now, if you'd oblige us, we did extensive work, the True Island History team, on getting you this story, preparing it for you guys. So if you watched it to the end, we appreciate it. And please do leave a like and a comment and press that notification bell so you do not miss another postings when we post. And do check out our epic stories on the channel, and check out the True Island Stories channel, the main page, for more gangsterous true stories. You have a wonderful day. Until next time.
Nazi, come here. Cell Squad is something. Don't look off the dance, man. Yo, you want something? Yeah, man. Cell Squad is. Yeah, man. Don't lock it off. Don't tell her. Guess what, Squad is? Go buy a peanut from the peanut man. When him a go through in the dance, in a box him have everything you want. Herbs by the bottom, by the stock. I like the top shell and them a shell down the bar. Watch it, mind, you step on them clock.